For more than a decade, Jeffrey Dahmer lived in plain sight. He was quiet, polite, and largely invisible, an ordinary man in an ordinary city. But behind closed doors, a nightmare was unfolding, unnoticed by neighbors, ignored by authorities, and hidden beneath layers of silence. Between 1978 and 1991, 17 young lives were taken, not in sudden bursts of violence, but through calculated acts driven by obsession, control, and fear of abandonment. Warning signs appeared again and again: strange behavior, desperate victims, repeated police encounters, yet the truth remained unseen until it was far too late. This is not a story meant to glorify a killer. It is a story about missed chances, systemic failure, and the devastating cost of ignoring the vulnerable. It is about how one man's darkness was allowed to grow, and how an entire community paid the price. Jeffrey Lionel Dahmer was born on May 21, 1960, in West Allis, Wisconsin, a quiet suburb outside Milwaukee. From the outside, his family appeared ordinary. His father, Lionel Dahmer, was a research chemist, intelligent, analytical, emotionally reserved. His mother, Joyce Flint, was intelligent as well, but struggled deeply with depression, anxiety, and instability, requiring frequent medication and hospitalizations. Jeffrey grew up in a house filled not with violence, but with absence. His parents argued constantly, often ignoring him. As a toddler, Jeffrey was unusually passive. He rarely cried, rarely demanded attention, and seemed content to sit silently for long periods. Doctors once noted that he showed little reaction even to painful medical procedures. As he grew older, this emotional flatness became more pronounced. Jeffrey had trouble forming friendships. Other children described him as odd and distant. Teachers noticed he rarely spoke in class and seemed disconnected from the world around him. One pivotal change occurred around the age of 4, following a surgical procedure for a hernia. Afterward, relatives noticed Jeffrey became even more withdrawn. Whether coincidence or not, this moment is often cited by psychologists as the beginning of his deep emotional detachment. By the time Jeffrey reached elementary school, he had begun to develop a fascination with animal remains. He collected dead animals from the roadside and examined them. His interest wasn't sadistic, at least not at first. It was clinical. He wanted to understand how bodies worked. His father, unaware of the danger, encouraged this curiosity by teaching him how to bleach bones and preserve skeletons. This shared activity was one of the few bonding experiences Jeffrey had, but it unintentionally reinforced a fixation that would later turn deadly. As Jeffrey entered adolescence, his parents' marriage collapsed completely. The home became chaotic. His mother's mental health deteriorated, and his father withdrew emotionally. Jeffrey was left to raise himself. During this period, Jeffrey discovered alcohol. By age 14, he was drinking regularly, sometimes bringing alcohol to school in soda bottles. Teachers noticed strange behavior, slurred speech, odd movements, emotional numbness. His classmates mocked him, giving him nicknames and imitating his behavior. What looked like humor to them was actually a boy slowly disappearing into addiction. At the same time, Jeffrey became aware of his sexual orientation. Growing up gay in the 1970s Midwest, he felt isolated and ashamed. His sexual fantasies became intertwined with control, domination, and immobility, ideas that frightened him but also excited him. He later admitted that he fantasized about having someone who could never leave him. In 1978, shortly after graduating high school, Jeffrey's parents finalized their divorce. His mother moved away, leaving Jeffrey alone in the family home. That same year, everything changed. On a summer night, Jeffrey picked up Stephen Hicks, an 18-year-old hitchhiker. They drank beer and talked. When Hicks said he wanted to leave, Jeffrey felt overwhelming panic. The fear of abandonment, something that had haunted him his entire life, took control. He struck Hicks with a dumbbell, killing him. What followed was calculated and deliberate. Jeffrey dismembered the body, dissolved the flesh with chemicals, and scattered the bones. He later described this moment as the first time he felt power, a sense of control that erased loneliness. And yet, after this murder, Jeffrey stopped. For nearly 9 years, he killed no one. But the thoughts never left him. During this period, his life unraveled. He failed out of college. He joined the army, hoping for structure, but was discharged due to severe alcoholism. He drifted through low-paying jobs, arrests, and shame. In 1988, he was arrested for sexual assault of a 13-year-old boy and served 1 year in prison. This conviction should have stopped him forever. Instead, it became another missed opportunity. When Jeffrey was released in 1990, he moved into an apartment building in Milwaukee. That building would soon become infamous. Between 1987 and 1991, Jeffrey Dahmer murdered 16 more people. His method followed a killing pattern. He targeted young men, often minorities, whom he met at bars or on the street. He offered money for photos or companionship. Once inside his apartment, he drugged them. What separated Dahmer from many killers was his motive. He did not kill out of rage. He killed out of fear of abandonment. He wanted total possession, someone who could not leave, reject, or abandon him. His crimes escalated rapidly. He began photographing bodies. He kept heads in his refrigerator. He preserved skulls. He experimented with crude lobotomies, drilling into victims' skulls and injecting acid or boiling water, attempting to create living companions who would obey him without resistance. Most died during these attempts. The apartment became a chamber of death. Neighbors complained about the smell. Police were called. Dahmer lied calmly every time, and was believed. The most devastating failure occurred in May 1991. A 14-year-old boy, Konorak Synthasunphone, escaped Dahmer's apartment, naked and bleeding. 2 women stopped to help him and called police. When officers arrived, Dahmer convinced them the boy was his intoxicated lover. Despite protests, police returned the child to Dahmer. Konorak was murdered shortly afterward. Only weeks later, on July 22, 1991, another intended victim escaped. This time, police followed him back to Dahmer's apartment, and searched inside. What they found ended the nightmare: Polaroid photographs of dismembered bodies, severed heads, human remains. Evidence of years of horror. Jeffrey Dahmer was arrested. During interrogation, he confessed in disturbing detail. He was calm, cooperative, and emotionless. Psychiatrists later described him as compulsive, driven by obsession rather than hatred. In 1992, he was found legally sane and sentenced to 15 life terms. In court, he apologized. Many families rejected his words. Forgiveness was impossible. While in prison, Dahmer claimed to find religion. Whether genuine or not, his life ended violently. On November 28, 1994, he was beaten to death by another inmate. He was 34 years old. Jeffrey Dahmer's story is not just the story of a killer. It is a story of neglect, addiction, missed warning signs, systemic failure, and ignored victims. It is a reminder that evil can grow quietly and that silence can be just as dangerous as violence. The true legacy of this story belongs not to Dahmer but to the lives he destroyed.